All right, everybody, what's happening, man? How y'all doing? Welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk Show. We cover the SWAC inside and out. Of course, I am your tour guide around the SWAC. C. Wells coming at you. And we're going to recap Week 7 now. We do have one game that take place today. That's Pine Bluff and Alabama A&M. That's taking place in Pine Bluff instead of St. Louis. We talked about the issue with that game, so we'll cover that game probably tomorrow. And we'll recap that game tomorrow after it takes place today. So we have 4 games to talk about today. And let's go ahead and jump into it, man. As you can see, the socials on the screen down below. The Facebook is SWAC Talk, Instagram is SWAC Talk, Twitter is SWAC Talk 76. Cash App is $SWAC Talk. You're going to hit that up. Show a little support to the show. Pretty much appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, I want you please subscribe to the channel. Like the videos, share them, and feel free to comment on your thoughts on Week 7. Man, we are already pretty much through, halfway through October already. Season is almost over already. Seems like it just got started, but hey, that's football. You know, it moves like the wind. So we are starting to get into separation Saturdays. A lot of movement going to start taking place in the standings. And let's go ahead and start with our first game of the day. Was Grambling and FAMU. This was a very tight game, man. Grambling, Coach Hugh gave them their G's back on their helmets, and those boys came out and they played hard for 60 minutes. A game came down to a controversial call. Grambling did score a touchdown that would ultimately be the winning touchdown, but it was called back by offensive pass interference. Now, I saw the play. You know, it was a ticky-tack call. That's something that I don't know if you should make that call in a game-winning situation. But, I mean, the guy did push off. I don't think it was egregious, but, you know, I mean, it was there. You know, I don't think it was a case where it was not interference, but I'm not sure if you make that call, though. I don't think it was enough to make that call in that situation. But, you know, Grambling came up short by a score of 20-16. This was a tight game all the way through, 0-0 first quarter. Grambling FAMU scored first. Romo Martinez kicked a 29-yard field goal for the Rattlers from with 12:33 to go in the second quarter. That capped a 14-play, 68-yard drive, made the score 3-0. Clock took 7:35 over the clock, so nice, solid drive for the Rattlers. Right before half, with about a minute and 2 seconds, Grambling was able to get a field goal from 39 yards. And then Grambling would score again right before half with 23 seconds left when Lyndon Rash would catch a 7-yard touchdown pass from Julian Calvez, extra point good, 4 plays, 16 yards, and a 39-second time possession. Made the halftime score 10-3. FAMU would get on the board first in the third quarter when Pruitt would catch a 4-yard pass from Musa. Extra point was good. That capped a 8-play, 68-yard drive, taking 3:40 off the clock, tied the game up at 10. And then with 23 seconds left in the third quarter, FAMU would take the lead at 17-10 when Musa would run a 2-yard touchdown run. Extra point good, kept a 9-play, 59-yard drive, taking 3:54 off the clock. Grambling would answer back with 5:05 left in the game. Donald Johnson would get an 80-yard punt return for Grambling. Extra point was no good, 17-16. So, you know, seeing it set, FAMU would put together a nice drive, 9 plays, 58 yards, taking 3:20 off the clock. And they would score with a minute and 45 left when Romo Martinez would kick a 34-yard field goal. Grambling would ultimately drive to about the FAMU 12 and throw an apparent touchdown. And like I said, it was called back by offensive pass interference, pushed them back. They could not convert at that point, and the game would end on a 4th down incompletion. So Grambling, you know, like I said, they fought hard. FAMU FAMU had, you know, a lot of mistakes, and we'll touch on all the stats. 20 first downs for the Rattlers, 22 for Grambling, 114 on the ground for FAMU, 29 carries, 3.9 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. Grambling 144 on the ground, 33 carries, 4.4 yards per carry, no touchdowns. 226 through the air for FAMU, 22 of 36, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Grambling 149 through the air, 14 of 37, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. 340 total offense for FAMU on 65 plays, 5.2 yards per play. No fumbles at all for them. The key for FAMU in this game was 14 penalties for 172 yards. That's just, on the road, that's going to kill you a lot. You really cannot play that sloppy. Grambling 293 yards of offense on 70 plays, 4.2 yards per play. They did fumble once, but they didn't lose it. And they had 11 penalties for 91 yards. So this was a highly penalized game between both teams. FAMU averaged 44 yards per punt, Grambling 40.6. FAMU 33 minutes and 26 seconds time of possession, Grambling 26-34. 5 of 13 on third down for FAMU. They didn't attempt a fourth down. Grambling 5 of 15 on third downs. They were 0 for 2 on fourth down. FAMU was 4 for 4 in the red zone. Grambling was 2 for 3. 4 sacks for FAMU, 1 for Grambling. 2 of 2 on extra points for FAMU, 1 of 2 for Grambling on extra points. FAMU 2 for 2 on field goals. Grambling was 1 for 3 on field goals. So that's basically between those 2 field goals and the extra point. That's 7 points right there. That's your ball game. Those 2 field goals really is your ball game. That penalty is bad, but you had chances, and you obviously, if you made that extra point, you could have been playing for a tie instead of needing the touchdown. So those kind of things add up and make it more than just a penalty. I think a lot of times when people get upset at the referees, which like I said, that was a call that I probably wouldn't have made. But, I think there's so much more that goes into an in-game situation than just that final call. You overlooking a lot of missed opportunities that you had. You left 7 points on the field. Besides, anything else that could have changed a drive, but you left 7 for sure points on the field. And that's your ball game right there. That's, that's just a big difference right there. So, that a lot of times that's worse than just saying, oh, we got cheated by the ref. Tough call, and you hate to have that happen, especially at home. But, sometimes you end up in those kind of situations. Jeremy Musa, 22 of 36, 226 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He was sacked once. Julian Calvez was 14 of 36, 149 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He was sacked 4 times. Holly Wayne was 0 for 1 on the night. I think Calvez is probably he should be the guy going forward. I think that, this is a guy that's been, a spark for this team. I mean, obviously the numbers aren't great for the team, but, he had a great game for them, really a solid game. Jalen Mcleod, 12 carries, 57 yards for FAMU, 4.8 yards per carry. AJ Davis, 8 carries, 39 yards, 4.9 yards per carry. Xavier Smith, 2 carries for 14 yards. Francis, 2 carries for 3 yards. Musa, 4 carries for 1 yard net and a touchdown. Calvez led Grambling with 113 yards on 16 carries. He had a longer 23 on the night, averaged 7.1 yards per carry. Maurice Washington, 6 carries for 20 yards. Floyd Chalk, 6 carries for 10 yards. Chance Amy, 1 carry for 5 yards. Jaden Handy, 3 carries for -1 yard. CJ Russell, 1 carry, -3 yards. I don't like, and this is just a thing for me. I don't like, your guys who are explosive to not get a lot of touches. 6 carries for your fastest back, probably your most explosive back, 6 carries. I don't like that. That's something I think that needs to improve. Shareed led FAMU with 8 catches for 106 yards on the night. Xavier Smith, 6 catches for 61 yards. Kamari Young, 3 catches, 29 yards. Oxendine, 2 catches, 14 yards. Davis, 1 for 8. Pruitt, 1 for 4, and a touchdown. Manigo, 1 for 4. Rash led Grambling with 4 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. Coleman, 2 for 35. Bean, 1 for 28. Waters, 1 for 19. Holly Wayne, 2 for 10. Quiet, 1 for 7. Handy, 1 for 3. Washington, 2 for -1. Cheney led FAMU with 7 tackles on the night. Major and Cox with 6. Jenkins with 5 tackles for loss. Stevens with 3. Cheney and Major with 2. Cox with 1. Hall, Dunn, and Mentor, along with Bangura, they each had a half a tackle for loss apiece. Sacks, 3 sacks for Stevens, big night for him. Half a sack for Cheney and a half a sack for Hall. Stevens also had a forced fumble, and that was it for the Rattlers. Grambling was led by Sundiata Anderson and Kevin Thomas and Lewis Matthews, each with 7. Reed with 5 and Brunson with 5. Tackles for loss: Johnson, Thomas, Asidu, Anderson, they each had 1 tackle for loss apiece. Carter and Richardson had a half a tackle for loss apiece. And Johnson had the sack and no forced fumbles and no interceptions. So, like I said, this was a big, this was a good game. Grambling first game at home on the season, so they had a little bit of emotion and hype behind them. FAMU didn't play their best game, but they were able to pick up another victory. Grambling still kind of working some things out there, showing some flashes. But it's getting late early now, so I think what this season, this is what they are. They'll be a better team, next season, but they still have a chance to close out strong, close out the rest of the season strong. So they have an off week this week, so they can kind of go in and retool and kind of get the young guy Calvez even more situated at quarterback before they come out on October 29th against Alcorn. So tough game, tough loss for Grambling, but they have some pieces to build on now, and we'll see where they go from there. The next game we're going to talk about is Alabama State and Valley. Score ended up 24-9. Pretty much kind of like I figured. I thought this game would be a game where Bama State, I don't think they're built to blow anybody out. So I thought Valley had a chance. Alabama State basically, controlled this game from start to finish. Alabama State scored first when Dylan Creech caught a 12-yard pass from Miles Crawley, made the score 7-0. That was a 3-play, 81-yard drive. That came at 4:38 in the first quarter. Orlando Fernandez got Valley on the board with 14:09 left in the first half with a 25-yard field goal. That capped a 12-play, 51-yard drive, made it score 7-3. And then Alabama State will get a Juwan Howell 2-yard touchdown run with 3:32 on the clock left in the second quarter. Extra point good, 7 plays, 45 yards, 14-3. And then Jaden John would kick a 46-yard field goal for Alabama State. 6 plays, 51 yards on the drive. Halftime score 17-3. Jeremiah Hickson would catch a 36-yard touchdown pass from Crawley to make the score 24-3 after the extra point. 9-play, 81-yard drive came with 7:28 left in the game. Then Valley would get a 62-yard pass from Jones to Rankin. At 2-point conversion was no good. That was a 3-play, 66-yard drive, and that came with 14 seconds left in the game. So that made the final more than 24-9. And like I said, Alabama State pretty much controlled this game from start to finish. Valley is still struggling. Both teams didn't really have a lot of offense in this game. 9 first downs for Valley, 15 for Alabama State. 127 yards rushing for Valley on 36 carries, 3.5 yards a carry. 76 yards rushing for Alabama State on 30 carries, 2.5 yards per carry. They had 1 touchdown on the night. Valley was 6 of 16 passing for 85 yards. They had 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Alabama State, 277 through the air, 17 of 27. They had 2 touchdowns, but they also threw 2 interceptions. 212 yards of offense for Valley on 52 plays, 4.1 yards per play. No fumbles. They had 7 penalties for 71 yards. 353 total offense for Alabama State, 57 plays, 6.2 yards per play. They also didn't fumble the ball, and they had 6 penalties for 45 yards. Valley averaged 38.4 yards per punt, 32 yards per punt for Alabama State. Time of possession, Valley, 30 minutes and 57 seconds. They were 1 for 12 on third downs and 1 for 2 on fourth downs. They had no sacks. And obviously they didn't get an extra point. They missed 1 field goal, so they were 1 for 2 on field goals. Alabama State, 29 minutes and 12 seconds time of possession. They were 4 of 10 on third downs and 0 for 2 on fourth downs. They were 1 for 3 in the red zone, and they had 3 sacks on the night, and they were 3 for 3 on extra points and 1 for 2 on field goals. So a lot of missed opportunities for both teams. Valley continues to struggle offensively. They just this team is not looking good offensively this season at all. Jamari Jones, 3 of 5, passing for 69 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked once, no interceptions. 62 of his yards came on one play, so he did not really have a great night passing the ball. TJ Goodwin, 3 of 11 on the night for 16 yards. No touchdown, no interceptions. He was sacked twice. Miles Crawley, 16 of 26 passing for 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, no sacks. Joe Owens, 1 for 1 for 7 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks. Caleb Johnson led Valley with 19 carries for 62 yards. Jacoby Thomas, 7 for 45. TJ Goodwin, 5 for 11. Jamari Jones, 5 for 9. Alabama State was led by Ja'Cory Merritt with 11 carries for 39 yards. Jawan Howell, 6 carries for 15 yards and a touchdown. Miles Crawley, 2 carries for 12 yards. Dunn, 6 carries for 6 yards. Manley, 1 carry for 3 yards. Bryant, 1 carry for 2 yards. Owens, 2 for 0. Rankin led Valley with 2 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. Johnson, 1 for 11. Thomas, 1 for 7. Jean, 1 for 5. Campbell, 1 for 4. Keyshawn Johnson led Alabama State with 5 catches for 116 yards. Hickson, 5 for 92 and a touchdown. Dunn, 2 for 37. Moore, 2 for 17. Creech, 1 for 12 and a touchdown. Scott, 1 for 4. And Lay, 1 for -1. Lee led Valley with 6 tackles. Thomas with 5. Lewis, McGee, and Bell each had 4 tackles for loss. Lee had 2. Thomas, Fox, Alexander, Banks, and Vic each had 1 tackle for loss apiece. No sacks for Valley, no forced fumbles. Lee had 2 interceptions, so a real solid game for him. Like I said, 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions. Really solid game for him. Alabama State did a pretty decent job of keeping Ronnie Thomas in check. He had 1 tackle for loss, no sacks. Bubba Adams, 11 tackles for Alabama State, 10 solo tackles. Like I say, the guy's a tackling machine. I believe he is the SWAC's leading tackler at this point, so he's definitely putting his stamp on the season. Gaddy, 6. Moore, 6 tackles for loss. Adams, 2. Varner, Maddox, Gaddy, Jordan, and Stokes each had 1 tackle for loss apiece. Adams, 2 sacks, and Varner, 1 sack. No forced fumbles and no interceptions. So, like I said, this was a pretty straightforward game. Not a lot to take away from this game. Valley continues to struggle to find offense. Alabama State's offense is also not that great, but their defense is really good, and their defense controlled this game kind of pretty much the way I figured this game would go. So, not a big surprise in this game. Alabama State is also off this upcoming week. They play Alabama A&M in the Magic City Classic on the 29th, so this is their traditional off week before that game. Valley will get ready for Bethune Cookman next week, so it's homecoming in Valley next week, so hopefully they can probably pick up a win at home on homecoming. I mean, they need some success somewhere at this portion of the season, because right now, like I said, they have not played well at all this season, so hopefully they can find some success in that game next week. The next game we're covering is Jackson State 48, Bethune Cookman 8. Jackson State basically blew this game out of the water early. They led 30-0 at the half, and then they were able to kind of coast to the end and get some points and put this game away. Rico Powers, 5-yard pass from Shedeur Sanders. Extra point good to open the scoring with 12:19 left in the first quarter. There was an 8-play, 42-yard drive, 2:30 off the clock, 7-0. Dallas Daniels, 4-yard pass from Shedeur Sanders with 5:44 left in the first quarter. Extra point good, 10 plays, 77 yards, 4:21 time of possession. That made the score 14-0. Shane Hooks, 13-yard pass from Shedeur Sanders, extra point good. That came with 4:10 left in the first quarter. 4 plays, 64-yard drive, 108 time of possession, 21-0. Dan JSU will get a safety with 12:27 left in the second quarter, 23-0 at that point. Dallas Daniels, 5-yard touchdown pass from Shedeur Sanders, extra point good, 7 plays, 59 yards, 3:14 time of possession, 30-0 at that point. That was the halftime score. 5:32 left in the third quarter. JSU would get another safety that made it 32-0. Then Santee Marshall would get a 6-yard touchdown run. I believe that's his first of the season. I thought he might get one at this point. Extra point good, 7 plays, 51 yards, 2:30 time of possession, 39-0. Then Bethune-Cookman would get on the board with 14-10 left in the game. Kamari Everett, 4-yard pass from Jalen Jones. 2-point conversion good. 8 plays, 45 yards. 3:32 time of possession, 39-8. JSU would get another safety at 8:37 left in the game. That made the score 41-8. And then with 4:29 left, Shane Hooks will catch a 7-yard pass from Shedeur Sanders, extra point good. 10 plays, 60 yards, 4:02 off the clock. They made the final margin 48-8. So JSU scored 6 points off of safeties, man. That's a touchdown work for safeties. And they basically coasted through this game. Bethune-Cookman, really no challenge here. 26 first downs for JSU, 10 for Bethune-Cookman. 224 on the ground for JSU on 34 carries, 6.6 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. Bethune-Cookman 39 yards on 30 carries, 1.3 yards per carry. 272 passing for JSU, 36 of 48. 5 touchdowns. They did have 2 interceptions on the night. Bethune-Cookman 127 through the air, 13 of 33, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. 496 total offense for JSU on 82 plays, 6 yards per play. No fumbles at all, 4 penalties for 41 yards. Bethune-Cookman 166 yards of offense on 63 plays, 2.6 yards per play. They fumbled 5 times, lost 2 of them, 8 penalties for 85 yards. JSU 45.5 yards per punt. Bethune-Cookman 39.4. Let's see. Time of possession, JSU 32 minutes, 56 seconds. They were 6 of 13 on third downs, 0 for 4 on fourth downs, 6 of 7 in the red zone. They had 7 sacks on the night, 6 of 6 on extra points, no field goals attempted. Bethune-Cookman 27:04 time of possession, 3 of 16 on third downs, 1 for 2 on fourth downs, 1 for 2 in the red zone. They had no sacks. Obviously, they went for a 2 conversion, so they made that, didn't kick an extra point, and they didn't attempt a field goal. Individually, Shedeur Sanders, 36 of 48, 272, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jalen Jones, 9 of 24 for 98 yards and 1 touchdown. He was sacked 5 times. Marcus Riley, 3 of 4 for 29 yards. Tyrone Franklin, 0 for 4, no 2 sacks. Walter Simmons, 1 for 1, no yards. Santee Marshall led JSU with 10 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown, 7.1 yards per carry. Wilkerson, 9 for 66, 7.3 yards per carry. Shedeur Sanders, 6 for 33, 5.5 yards per carry. Caleb Jolivet, 4 for 28. J.D. Martin, 2 for 12. Holt, 2 for 10. Powers, 1 for 4. Quishon Bird led Bethune-Cookman with 7 carries for 55 yards. Terry Lindsay, 7 carries for 17 yards. Ingram, 1 for 2. Jones, 12 for -17. Franklin, 3 for -18. Hooks, 6 for 66 for JSU and 2 touchdowns. Daniels, 7 for 55 and 2 touchdowns. Wilkerson, 4 for 46. Stevens, 6 for 31. Gaines, 3 for 27. Powers, 2 for 15 and a touchdown. Marshall, 4 for 14. Coleman, 2 for 13. Martin, 2 for 5. Lee led Bethune-Cookman with 3 catches for 44 yards. Everett, 3 for 35 and a touchdown. Bird, 1 for 15. Lindsay, 1 for 12. Riley, 2 for 11. Reed, 1 for 6. Ellington, 1 for 4. JSU was led by John Huggins and Niles Gaddy. Each had 5 tackles. Brown with 4. Beasley, Davis, and Reagan each had 3 tackles for loss. Gaddy with 2. Brown with 2. Reagan 1. Arrington 1. Huggins 1. Hobson 1. Sacks. Brown 2. Reagan 1. Arrington 1. Gaddy 1. Huggins 1. Hobson 1. Forced fumbles. They showed Brown with one forced fumble recovery by Doyle. Interceptions, none. Bethune Cookman was led by Efert with 8 tackles, Oliver with 7, Ratliff with 7, Lewis, Blake, Smith, and Loving each had 5 tackles apiece. Tackles for loss, Hampton, Ratliff, and Efert each had 1 tackle for loss. No sacks, no forced fumbles. Interceptions were by Poe and Ratliff. Like I said, again, another pretty straightforward game. I mean, this was a game JSU was highly favored to win. They came in, they took care of business in the first half, and basically kind of got out of there in the second half. Bethune Cookman didn't really have much success doing anything. JSU gets ready for their big homecoming game against Campbell next week. That's a game that I'm sure everybody's going to be paying attention to. And Bethune Cookman goes to Valley, so this is a big game for Bethune Cookman if they want to kind of get off of this little slide that they own. At this point, they had a couple good weeks of football. One they won, one they lost, but they've been playing not good football the last 2 weeks. They need a win here. This is probably one of the few games I can say that is a game that they probably should win, or at least be favored to win. So they definitely need to win this game. And also Valley needs that win. So, it's a pretty tough game right there. That's going to be a game that we keep our eyes on. The next game that we have is our game of the week. Southern and Alcorn, they played a doozy of a game. This was honestly a defensive game. I mean, I thought it might be a little bit more skewed toward the offense, but this was a game that looked like the offense were going to take charge in this game in the first half. Second half, defenses basically stood up on both sides. Southern won this game 21-17. Southern got all the points in the first half. Alcorn got 14 of that 17 in the first half. So it was a 3-0 Alcorn second half, but Southern defense, really stood up. Alcorn did control the second half. They had two 14-play drives in the second half. Only came away with 3 points. So a lot of ball possession in this game for Alcorn in the second half, but no points. Really, really entertaining game, physical game like you would expect from a game with Alcorn, especially in Southern. Definitely matched that physicality. Both teams played, they played hard and they came out and they gave it everything they had. Another close game between these two teams. These two teams continue to play tough, close games against each other. Southern would score first with 13:57 left in the first quarter. August Pete, 37-yard pass from McCray. Extra point good. That was a 3-play, 73-yard drive. Only taking 52 seconds off the clock. 2 big pass plays got Southern on the board in that aspect. 7-0. Carl Ligon would get Southern's second touchdown of the game with 13 minutes left in the second quarter. 36-yard touchdown run, extra point good. That was a 1-play drive. Took 9 seconds off the clock. So Southern scored 2 touchdowns in like a minute and 1 second. So not a lot of possession for them. 2 quick scores, 14-0. Alcorn will get a Malik Rogers touchdown from 26 yards out from Aaron Allen with 9:17 left in the second quarter. Extra point was good. 10-play, 75-yard drive, 3:43 off the clock, 14-7. Southern would strike back. Cassius Allen, 14-yard pass from McCray. Extra point good. 8 plays, 90 yards, 3:44 off the clock. Score was 21-7. A minute and 33 seconds left in the first half. Monterio Hunt would catch a 31-yard pass from Allen. Extra point was good. 9 plays, 86 yards, 3:38 off the clock, 21-14, which was our halftime score. Scoreless third quarter. And Alcorn would get a 24-yard field goal from Kiani to make the score 21-17. 12 plays, 67-yard drive, 4:40 off the clock. Southern would get the ball. They would drive toward midfield and have to punt. Alcorn would get the ball with about 4 minutes and change left. They drove the ball to about midfield and got stopped on a 4th down. Southern would get the ball back and run out the final minute and change to pick up the victory. So, like I said, not a lot of offense in the second half. First half seemed like it was going to be a score fest, but not a lot of offense in the second half. Alcorn 23 first down, Southern 17. Alcorn 114 yards rushing on 44 carries. They averaged 2.6 yards per carry. Southern 171 yards on 38 carries. 4.5 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. Alcorn, 211 yards passing, 17 of 26, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Southern, 199 yards passing, 12 of 19, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. 325 total offense for Alcorn on 70 plays, 4.6 yards per play. They had 1 fumble. They didn't lose it. Southern, 370 total offense, 57 plays, 6.5 yards per play, no fumbles. Alcorn, 3 penalties for 35 yards. Southern, 10 penalties for 100 yards. Southern had some costly penalties all night, especially holding penalties. They called back some big plays. They had a failed 4th down conversion early, where they could have probably made an even bigger lead. But Alcorn, they stayed the course and they decided they were going to run the ball, and they did that a lot in this game. 44 carries on the night. 40-yard average for Alcorn on punts, 41 for Southern. Both punters did a good job of changing field position, and that ultimately was the key to this game. Alcorn 33-minute time of possession and 2 seconds. Southern 26:58. Alcorn 7 of 16 on 3rd down. Southern 5 of 11. 1 for 2 on 4th down for Alcorn. 0 for 1 on 4th down for Southern. Both teams were 1 for 1 in the red zone. Southern 5 sacks on the night. Alcorn 1. 2 for 2 on extra points for Alcorn. 3 for 3 for Southern. Alcorn 1 for 2 on field goals, and Southern did not attempt a field goal. Aaron Allen, 17 of 26 for Alcorn, 211 on the night, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 5 sacks. McCray, 12 of 19, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked once. Howard, 22 carries for Alcorn for 79 yards. 11 yards was his long. Average 3.6 yards per carry. Duffy, 11 carries, 39 yards, 3.5 yards per carry. Leatherwood, 3 for 9. Allen, 8 for -13. Ligon led Southern with 16 carries for 92 yards and a touchdown. 5.8 yards per carry. Sims, 11 for 55, 5 yards per carry. McCray, 8 for 13. So Alcorn did a good job of keeping him under control. That was McCray, Southern leading rusher right now. Rhymes, 2 for 11. Rogers led Alcorn with 6 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. Anthony, 4 for 44. Hunt, 2 for 36 and a touchdown. Adams, 2 for 16. Jones, 1 for 13. Duffy, 1 for 11. Akeem McNair, 1 for 8. Southern was led by August Pete with 4 catches for 127 yards and a touchdown. Allen, 3 for 48 and a touchdown. Whitfield, 3 for 18. Dyson, 1 for 5. King, 1 for 1. Tackles, Ellis and Kinsler led Alcorn with 7 tackles. McCullum with 5. McGee with 4 tackles for loss. And Andrew Cole with 2. McGee with 1. Key with 1. Ballard and Rice each had a half a tackle for loss apiece. And sack was by Key. No forced fumbles. Interception was by Cherilus with 1 interception on the night. Southern was led in tackles by Harris with 10. Campbell with 8. Williams with 7 tackles for loss. Givens, 2. Peterson, 1.5. Lang, 1.5. Lewis, 1. Campbell, 1. Williams, a half a tackle for loss. Brown, a half a tackle for loss. Sacks, Lang, Peterson, Givens, Lewis each had a sack apiece, and Williams and Brown had a half a sack. Interception was by Harris. Forced fumble was by Lang. Alcorn did recover it. So, like I said, this was like 2 different games in one. A game that seemed like it may have been like an offensive type of game that probably could have ended up like my prediction. Both teams getting in the high 20s, but the defenses both came out pretty strong in the second half. And basically this turned into a defensive battle in the second half, and Southern was able to get the stops that they needed and ultimately be able to pick up those yards on the ground to run the clock out and get the victory. So big victory for Southern, obviously. Alcorn drops a very important game, but they're still in the hunt, and we'll go over the standings in a second. Like I said, both teams, they move on to homecoming games next week. Southern plays Virginia Lynchburg for homecoming, and TSU is Alcorn's homecoming opponent. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Week 8 schedule. Like I said, Alcorn is hosting Texas Southern for homecoming. That's a 2 p.m. kickoff, ESPN Plus broadcast. Campbell is at Jackson State. That's JSU's homecoming, 2 o'clock kickoff. Also ESPN Plus, Valley and Bethune Cookman in the Delta, 3 o'clock kickoff. That's Valley's homecoming, and that's our HBCU Go game of the week. So make sure y'all check that out. They've been having really great coverage and production on all of those games. They have an app. If you have the Fire Stick and Roku, I believe you can catch it there. So definitely support HBCU Go, man. They're doing a good thing with their coverage. Prairie View is at Lamar in our only non-conference game of the week. That's a 4 o'clock kickoff in Beaumont, Texas. And also at 4 o'clock, Southern is playing Virginia Lynchburg for homecoming on the Bluff. So three games on the schedule that are televised, and all three are homecoming games, plus Southern with a homecoming game. So this is homecoming week in the SWAC. So let's support. You know, if you can get out and support, do that. Let's take a look at the standings before we get up out of here. JSU leads the East at 4-0, 6-0 overall. FAMU is 3-1, 5-2 overall. Alabama A&M is 2-1, 2-4 overall. Alabama State 2-2, 4-3 overall. Bethune-Cookman is 1-2, 1-5 overall. Valley is 0-4 and 0-7 overall. Some important streaks on this side. JSU is on a 6-game winning streak. FAMU is on a 5-game winning streak. Valley is on a 7-game losing streak, and Bethune-Cookman is on a 3-game losing streak. In the East, Southern is 3-1 and 4-2 overall. Prairie View 3-1, 3-3 overall. Alcorn 2-1, 3-3 overall. Texas Southern 2-2, 2-4 overall. Pine Bluff is 0-3 and 2-4 overall. Grambling is 0-4 and 1-6 overall. So again, Southern's on a 3-game winning streak. Pine Bluff's on a 4-game losing streak, and Grambling's on a 5-game losing streak. Now, mathematically, Grambling is pretty much out of the race at 0-4 right now. I mean, they still do play two of the teams in front of them, but you know, I think it's going to take a lot of chaos for them to win this division. So, for all intents and purposes, they are out of the race right now. Pine Bluff is facing elimination as well. If they lose to Alabama A&M this week, they're pretty much out. Also, they're 0-4. Valley is pretty much out of the race in the East. Bethune-Cookman is pretty much out because they would need JSU to lose 3 times to take the lead over them. Alabama State's pretty much out as well because they would need JSU to lose 3 times. FAMU is still lingering there because they would need JSU to lose twice, but you know, stranger things have happened, but I don't see that happening. But you know, right now they're still mathematically in the race. Alabama A&M has yet to play JSU, so they're still, you know, kind of there in that stance. On the west side, you know, it's a 3-team tie right now, but Southern has the tiebreaker over both of those teams. Texas Southern has the tiebreaker over Southern, and they still have a few teams ahead of them that they have yet to play. Like I said, Pine Bluff and Grambling are out. Now, the key thing for the West lead is Southern still has to play Jackson State and FAMU. Alcorn has to play Jackson State and Prairie View. So that's still a lot of movement. You know, I know a lot of people were talking about this was kind of like a West Division championship. Not even close yet. Southern put themselves in a good position, but they still have a treacherous schedule to close out the conference season. So a lot of things can change, you know. So, like I said, the Alcorn Prairie View game is going to impact this still. So the West is far from settled. It is not even, I wouldn't even say Southern has control of the division right now. I would just say that they're sitting on top of it in the best spot because they beat the 2 teams that they're tied with. So they're in the driver's seat, but they're not. I don't even think they have a hand on the wheel yet. But they're sitting in the driver's seat, car and pull out the yard. So that's gonna do it for today's show. Y'all make sure y'all catch us tomorrow. We're gonna drop a little recap of the used to be St. Louis Classic. Now it's the Pine Bluff hosting Alabama A&M game. That's today, 3 o'clock. So y'all make sure y'all keep tabs on that score. And we'll be back also on Wednesday with our Week 8 preview. And then SWAC Smoke on Thursday, live as usual, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Sunday is our Week 8 recap. So it's homecoming week for most of us. So y'all have a good, safe time. And we'll catch y'all on our next edition of SWAC Talk. And we're out of here. Peace.